We're back.
We're back, baby. And you know what? This is pretty in tune with our theme this episode because we're going to talk about the things we learned in quarantine.
Right.
And if quarantine has taught me anything, it's that I don't care as much as I used to, which maybe that's a bad thing. But I think when quarantine started, right, I think the stay-at-home orders, it was like March 15th, I think.
Yeah.
It was around spring break, I remember, because a lot of my friends that were in college.
It was, right?
And my mom, who works for the school district, like, there were like rumblings about it in like February. Because I remember going to my doctor's office and to physical therapy and us being like, coronavirus, isn't it crazy? Like,
I know. And I remember that was March was end of March was when I was going to go to Mexico too.
Yeah, with your family.
And then I think by the beginning of March, my parents were like, yeah, let's just call it off for the better. And I think the funny part is that in the middle of when we would have been to Mexico, they were like shutting everything down.
Yeah, and I think
travel restrictions and stuff like that.
Like stranded in Mexico and in the Cayman Islands and Bahamas and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think now that I remember that, that's pretty crazy. But it's crazy that it hit that hard, that fast.
Yeah, because I think like the first case I think was reported in China in like November, like 2019. And
do you know that's why it's actually I don't know.
Well, we're gonna spread some fake news right there. What were you gonna say?
The 19 part is in COVID-19 is because of the date.
Yeah, in 2019. Not because there's 18 other COVIDs. That's factually correct.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, that it's 19 because it was discovered in 2019.
Let's take that from the top again.
From the top. All right. Coronavirus.
I know. Crazy, right?
Are we keeping this in?
You know what's really funny?
Are we keeping this in?
Is that I found out that...
We're keeping it in.
And I made this up, too, that the 19 in COVID is actually because it was in 2019.
Yep. You want to keep this in?
Insane. Okay.
Y'all, he's like breaking the fourth wall. He's been watching so much Martin Scorsese. Like, I don't even know what's real or not. I've been watching a lot
of Marty Scores over here.
So,
and that's actually a symptom of quarantine.
That you've been watching a lot of Martin Scorsese.
I've been cooped up more, so.
Yeah, I think I kind of wanted to take this episode to like think about like what we've learned about ourselves and also other people in quarantine.
And I think you'll have more to say because I had a different experience in that I had an essential job the whole time.
Yeah.
So I never really experienced
true like
quarantine because I always had the option to go to work, and that in itself, you know, we could do a whole nother podcast about just like the society's, what is the word? What am I trying to think of? Society's adaptation to like COVID-19 protocols and the changing, you know, the progression from like March when it was like, whatever, to
April when people like freaked out, May, and they were like, it's going to be over by summer. Do you remember when that was a thing?
Right.
Guys, this is, it's January. It's almost been a year.
Yeah, I know. It's getting worse, which is insane.
I think with the vaccine on the horizon, I'm confident that maybe it will get better, but also like, because you are an essential worker, you can get it sooner than me because I'm technically still part of like the general public.
Right.
So
I have a coworker that already got it too.
Oh, really?
Because she's practicing. What is the word? She's not a therapist, but like she's like a public.
Oh, she's not a
service therapist person.
Social worker?
I don't know.
I
don't know if she's not like a clinical
she's like
therapist,
essential,
but she's more essential
but
than...
she does like, is she like medical-ish? Like she's...
I think so.
She's in the community pretty much, like you are with working
Feel bad. Sorry, Anne. But
and if you're listening, we'll figure it out later.
Yeah. But anyways, her job was even more essential than my job now. So she, through her company, was provided the opportunity to get it.
Yeah, I know a couple of other people too, who worked. They like work in. They're not actually like seeing patients. They work in medical offices,
right,
doing like research and other things,
right,
and they were eligible to get it through their employer. And like my aunt and my uncle, who are dentists and work in the dental capacity, were able to get that too because it's
Did they get
still,
it already?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I know. I guess the first dose, people say it's like nothing, a little sore in the arm, no big deal. But then the second dose is like pretty insane. Like
that's
symptom, like you get kind of like high fever, which is fine because that's your body's natural immune response. There is no vaccine slander on this podcast. We are a pro-vax podcast.
I don't know about that.
I am a pro-vax person. Jonathan can speak for himself.
I'm pro. What am I trying to say? I'm pro believe anything is possible and don't shoot anything down.
Okay.
Just like, this is the government just using its powers to medically put
microchips in people?
Tracking medical chips. Whoops, so we're gonna throw a beep in there. A little and then no, I
see.
I think it's funny.
What happens when you go on your soapbox? You start slipping. You need to stop. You need to stop that. Stop that slander.
They flip and do this.
They
and they flip and do that.
Listen.
Well, anyways, they flip and are putting microchips in everybody right now.
You know what's a microchip? Is your freaking phone.
Yeah, that's why.
This is a microchip, which has all your information. And this. And my Apple computer and my car with the GPS. Like, guys,
I'd like to put out my disclaimer that I don't believe it. I don't stand on a soapbox to say it, to like,
could you
vehemently
imagine?
say it, but I do like thinking about it because it's just an interesting point of view.
That vaccine's called autism?
And anything. Oh, no.
That's what I'm talking about.
No.
When I'm saying pro-vax. Could you imagine we get like wicked famous? Do you see that? I'm already using my New England slang. We get wicked famous and somebody takes that snippet of you talking about vaccines and then they try and cancel you.
That's fine.
Oh, baby's first cancellation. January 2021.
Clip it.
Listen, one thing that I've learned in quarantine is that I love lifestyle videos. I love watching other people because I think I haven't been able to go out with my friends because I'm very social. Like, I forgot what my personality test is, where it's like you're introvert, extrovert. Mm-hmm. People, I think it's Enneagram, where it's like IS42 or something like that. And it's like assigning person. It's a psychological test that shows you like what kind of person you are.
Mm-hmm.
And I always score like extroverted, except there's like another word because I can be pretty extroverted until I don't want to be. So me in quarantine, especially with all the lockdowns, and me being safe, I wasn't going out with my friends as much or seeing my friends and being social because I do like being social. And so I would find like YouTube videos of people just like talking about life, like putting on makeup and just like hanging out. And I'm like, okay, this is fun because this is like I'm hanging out with somebody. But also it's like totally one-sided. And I know these people have no idea who I am, but their videos bring me joy. So.
Right.
End scene.
It's the funny thing about that, and I think what I remember seeing that podcasting along with that was
podcasting exploded over quarantine.
Absolutely. And
we kind of like that's when we started, but let me just say that this has been in the making since like 2017,
right,
2018-ish.
Yeah. Well, touching on that, and first of all, it was deemed that like podcasting was essential work
What?
I think at a certain point, I remember listening to podcasts, big podcasts, and them saying
like they're like actual like productions. Like they have a sound person, they have a switch technical person, they have a bunch of people. They employ a bunch of people.
It's and the idea was that they're bringing entertainment for people. In the time that they're like at home not doing anything, they're listening to podcasts and gaining some interaction through that and some entertainment while they're just not doing anything at home.
Yeah, I think podcasts, I've always loved podcasts, and podcasts have been a thing for a very, very long time. Like, I think it's definitely exploded. Over the past like maybe 2-3 years. Podcasts, like I remember podcasts were like super rare and people were like, you just listen to somebody. Like,
you just like listen to somebody talk.
You don't watch them. But like I remember when I would drive up to see you and you would drive down to see me when we were in long distance, like podcasts helped so much, because if you listen to like an hour and a half episode, you would need 3 or 4 episodes, and then you've arrived at your destination. Yeah, right. You know? So I think podcasts and other forms of media are also being consumed at a higher rate due to people being at home. I think that was our big roundabout way of saying that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I get sidetracked.
I think
what did you learn about yourself?
One thing I did learn, you know, I will say I did have to quarantine for a bit when you
when I flew back. Oh, for 2 days?
And, you know, I am thinking about that now, and it wasn't that...
You freaked out a little bit.
I did. I think I did freak out.
You kind of spiraled a little bit.
I was spiraling that first day, so I can't say that... I think I am very lucky that I did have my job, or else I would have gone...
insane.
I don't know. I mean, I only have speculations in my head right now. That's all I'm thinking about. But I mean, in those 2 days that I couldn't do anything, I felt this immense responsibility to not do anything and, you know, not cause a spread, not go to work, be honest with work, and say like, hey, like, I can't make it in because my girlfriend's waiting for this test. When I could have trusted and said like, oh, she's not coughing, it's all fine. But I felt this responsibility because I know I have coworkers that are partly at risk or live with people that are partly at risk. And even just going out into the world and interacting like that, I felt this really immense responsibility to just stay home. And in that, it's like you're like chaining yourself to your like little box. You know, you're chaining yourself in this box saying, I can't go out.
Yeah.
And I mean,
I think Jonathan freaked out a lot more than most people did. I've had to quarantine before because I've been exposed to people who had tested positive. And I think because we worked different jobs, right? So like I've had a job where I've worked from home for the past almost 4 years since I've been in college. So I've already gotten used to staying home all day. Like that's where work is my laptop, and I can bring my laptop anywhere. But I'm not one of those people to go to Starbucks to work.
Right.
Having all those background noises is very distracting to me. It's the same people who go to libraries to study. I can't study at a library. It's very distracting. So we were responsible. I flew. I've gotten COVID tested like 5 or 6 times, I think. So it's no big deal to me. I flew back. You know, you are trapped in like a tunnel, just recycled air, which like no matter how they splice it, guys, flying is not safe, especially if somebody's asymptomatic. But I flew, I got tested, we were awaiting test results, and I think John, just with the pure notion of being like, you can't leave because I might be positive and I'm be spreading it to you, was just like, I'm freaking out and what am I doing with my life, and I like can't do anything, I can't go to the grocery store, blah blah blah. And it was just kind of like, dude, like calm down, I'm gonna get the test results in a couple days. We were lucky that I was negative and you didn't have to quarantine for 2 weeks. It was 2 days.
Yeah. Well, I always say, well, I need to stop that.
Well, I say like a lot, which I am listening back to our podcast and I want to smack myself. Are we recording audio? Yeah, we are. Okay,
I always find that I even find this living on the East Coast more and during the winter. It's always the days that you can't go out and do something that you want to go out and do something the most. So it was like those 2 days that I was quarantined.
2 days that I quarantined.
Those 2 days were painful because it was like sunny outside and, you know, it was moderately warm. But in saying that, I'm just like so narrow-minded because I could have just gone out and gone for a walk or like gone out and done something, you know?
Yeah.
But in my head, I was like, oh, I can't go skate. I can't go to the grocery store to buy this, like, because we were going to make some meal and I couldn't put the meal together because of this one item. And I was like, I can't go to the store for this one thing. This is crazy.
Not supposed to go to the store either when you're quarantining.
And then, exactly. And then what was it? I can't, it was, I don't know what what it was, but it
spiraled.
It spiraled me. And I then realized, I was like, oh, this is what people went through. It's pretty traumatic.
Yeah.
And it's hard to like sit with your own thoughts.
With that though, I saw that and I got the test back. I was negative. Like that was actually like I could see why. Again, I need like a spray bottle every time I say like, so you can just spray me and classically condition me to no longer say like, which I have a spray bottle. But I think I remember couples that were quarantining together felt like they either got closer or they were like, I can't stand my partner.
I think it's a fake number, or a fake stat, but it's funny.
Really?
Is that no?
Oh,
that like divorces went out this year. Or
I thought you were
like
saying what I was saying is a fake stat.
No.
I was a little offended.
I think I heard that, but that's probably just
I didn't have any numbers, but I'm just saying that people that I know personally who are married or in a relationship that had to quarantine were either very happy about it because they,
finally got to sit down and spend time.
Yeah, and I think that
but that's the driving factor too. They got to finally sit down and
I know, and I think for relax. A lot of people, you work so much. A lot of people who work high power jobs, you work so much. For example, one of my mom's good friends, her husband like works in Oakland, but they live in LA. So he stays in Oakland 5 days a week and then flies home on the weekends. But then due to the pandemic, he was completely home and she was so happy about that. She was just like over the moon. And
I bet people's like kids and stuff like that, like
you were in class. Remember you went for spring break and then you were remote for the rest of the semester.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Well, because you only took one class, so
yeah. Well, I mean that is true. I mean now we've both done it and we've both experienced it
in school.
And I mean I can say gladly for myself, like, well, okay, we were talking about families and stuff like that. Just to wrap that up, I think it was one of those like weird things that it was like a very polarizing effect. Quarantining. I feel like it was either made people so close or made people drive apart, which is good and bad. And
I was a little offended though because I remember I brought up to you, I was like, wouldn't it be so fun if we quarantined together? And you were like, no, you would absolutely pick me apart and I would annoy the crap out of you.
Right.
And
that's so
I was
true.
A little offended when you first said that because I was like, wow, he doesn't want to spend time with me. But then I also understand where you're coming from.
Because like I mean, for me specifically, like I have like energy that I need to get out. I need to like expel energy. And if and that's like I have like this erratic energy that I that I just carry every day, and I need to get it out in some way. And sometimes excuse me, sometimes I gets brought out on you because like I have nothing to expel it onto, and then you're right there. I'm like, rah.
Do you think it was because you were an athlete for most of your life, so you had a workout pretty much every day, and then when you stopped, was it still when you were an athlete, you still had those energies?
I think athletes, like people that are athletes and continue to do it, all have that same thing. So it's not a symptom of being an athlete. It's just naturally what, like, something athletes are born with. You know,
I am
so
not
like,
a natural born athlete is what he's trying to say.
Well, now you're running though.
Yeah, I ran when I was younger too. I was on the track team. I played volleyball.
So like I think that
walk it back, babe.
We're going completely off topic. But
we are, but you know what? It's our podcast and we can do what we want.
Right, that's true.
So,
well, what I was going to say is that I think every athlete has that like sense of energy that they need to expel, or else they wouldn't be, desiring to do that. They would just be like,
well,
I'm just going to just do this and then, go home and chill.
Because what I'm saying is that you work out every day, as do I. So that was also similar to when you were an athlete, because you would have practice every day of the week and then you'd have games on the weekends, So it's like your whole life you were practicing, working out for hours a day. And then, so when you transition out of your I don't know, you no longer have that structure of working out and having a schedule every day. So then these erratic bits of energy is a result of you not having that set schedule that you had before.
So you're saying it's like a nature versus this is like a nature versus nurture argument now.
That's developmental though.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like I have this erratic energy and I used to just expel it into sports. Is what I'm saying. Like sports was my outlet for that.
Okay.
It wasn't like I played sports and then through playing sports all the time, I gained this like sense of like energy. It was like I had this energy all the time. I just so happened to expel it.
I see.
Onto playing sports.
I see.
So either way, I've always had this erratic energy, and I always have this feeling where I'm like, okay, I need to like get it out somehow. So I'll like, and to tie it back, it's like that's why I think I also went a little cuckoo during my extended quarantine because
48 hours.
because
guys, it was literally 48 hours.
I hadn't developed that like my routine for like how I'm going to expel my energy. So normally it would be like, all right, go skateboard, go play disc golf, or that's really it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wanted this podcast to be like lessons we learn about ourselves. I feel like we touched on one for each of us.
Well,
but
I want to say something really quick.
No, go ahead.
I'll do one lesson just because I have it on the top of my head right now. But I think that what I learned in quarantine is I think for a lot of people it was like a time of self-reflection.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, like this podcast, it really sparked off for me because I had to sit down and think like, okay, crap, like my only job right now is the grocery store job because
studios are closed.
People aren't shooting movies. There was no, live broadcasts were everything in the industry was getting very like small and not confined, but like whittling down numbers. That way there's less less
and it
variables.
was their like inner circle too. Like
exactly.
it was hard to break into that.
Whether it was for me, it being internship. So like saying like, you know, entering a business as like, you know, somebody new. They have no idea who I am, so they don't know about my responsibility. So this was a product of working on myself and working on the skills that I have already. So I took it as a positive. It made me really look at myself and say like, okay, I need to work on my skills. And it was very helpful for me. But then again, I worked, you know, and I was able to go and talk to people and expel my energy that way and, you know, make money. I think that's a huge thing that was messing with a lot of people, is that like money, their source of income was cut down,
or
whether
they lost
partially or
yeah.
fully. So, you know, everything I say is with like a light hand. I can't really sympathize with anybody.
Well, you can sympathize with people, but you're just saying it's not your own lived-in experience. Don't like call yourself a sociopath.
Or
you can't sympathize with people.
What is it? Empathize? I can't empathize with people.
You can't relate. Are you trying? You're not relating to people. Empathy is like an emotional exchange between two people.
Sympathize is like
feeling sorry for somebody.
I thought.
So you're saying you can't feel sorry for people?
I thought that's like one was like because you haven't had that experience yourself. So it's like what I was trying to say is that I haven't had that experience myself fully.
Yeah.
But
okay.
I can. Okay. But I've tasted it and I can understand.
Okay.
Where people come from.
Okay. So that's empathy. You're understanding where people are coming from.
I can't sympathize, but I can empathize.
Okay.
That's what I meant to say.
The way you were like, I can't have sympathy for people. I was like, oh my God.
No. That's not what I meant to say.
That's like
no. Sorry, people.
Not the, and I knew
lots
that's
of
not,
sympathy.
Yeah, I knew that's not what you meant. So that's why I was kind of both. You know.
There you go. Yeah.
I don't know what I was going to say something. I think I found out that I love to eat and I love to snack. I am like a grazer, like a cow. Like you just graze all day. I could just eat all day. So quarantine has taught me that. It also taught me that YouTube is free and people post really great workouts for free. So if you are in the mood to work out, they have apartment-friendly workouts. You can just Google anything, type into YouTube anything, and there's a workout for you. If you want to do arms, workout for you.
So it's like you've learned self-sustainability.
Yeah, I think so. Because I have to.
Right.
And I'm a student and I also work, so I have to be on top of everything. And, you know, just finding those resources and, you know, Zooming with friends, that's a good thing too. Just don't lose your human connection, I think. And I know it's a really rough time for a lot of people who have either lost their jobs or they just feel super lonely. But we'll answer you because not many people interact with us. If you comment something, we're going to answer it.
We'll answer.
But thanks, guys.
If you've made it this far,
yeah,
then
if you've made
know.
it this far, yeah, then you can comment the emoji wearing a mask.
Right. Yes.
Thanks, guys. This
everyone.
kind of took a turn, but honestly, I like our long form podcast. We both have a lot to say, so
yeah, we do. I like rambling.
Me too.
So
let's ramble.
Yeah. It just is always such a pain in the butt for me to edit.
Yeah, well, you're working on your reels.
But I'm working on myself, and I want you all to know out there that I love to edit long format content.
And I am available via email.
Email below.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everyone.